Marshall Pruett, Robin Miller, Road America, our favorite road course in the whole Northern Hemisphere. Is this the Northern Hemisphere?
Eastern, Western?
Eastern, Western.
No, we're
Hemisphere.
Central Hemisphere.
Central
time,
Hemisphere.
Right.
So, Josef Newgarden, quick time in both sessions. He's had 5 races in a row, as you documented in a story on RACER.com the other day, he's been 8th, 9th, 11th, 13th, and he's gone from leading the points to being 5th. So he needs a good weekend.
Everything but where we would expect him to be.
Right.
Now he's back where we expect him to be.
Right. So, I have a question. The only Chevys in the top 10 are the 3 Penske's. Everything else is Honda. We saw that we thought Chevy had an advantage
like
at Indy.
Texas.
But what about Indy? Chevy had an advantage there. Why does it look like it's really even here?
Their peak power is really impressive. Hondas, as we've seen off the corners, they're extremely good. But if we have a long straightaway, that's where the Chevys are going to flex their muscles, right? We got lots of long straightaways here. The Hondas are really, really good if you're having to come off the throttle, get back on. They ramp up. Basically, if a Honda driver mid-corner, off-corner is having to get back into the throttle, lower speed, medium speed, on a road course, that's really where we'll see them perform. Like at Texas we saw, obviously everyone's going a high rate of speed, but they're lifting in the corners, turn 1 and 2 specifically, and having to get back to the throttle there. That's where the Hondas were able to overcome the Chevys, because the Chevys weren't able to be at maximum speed all the way around. So not a surprise we've seen the bow tie quick here.
Okay, so Robert Wilkins is second quick. That story just keeps getting better. This guy, we interviewed him last year when he had his one practice session here, filling in for the Mad Russian, and it doesn't matter where we go, this guy's always there. I mean, Wilkins is just, I don't care, brother. That's just so impressive that he goes to these places he's never been before. Yeah, okay, he won a BMW race here 10 years ago or whatever, but he is pretty special.
Almost a lost talent if we're talking about top tier open wheel. Not saying racing in the DTM like he did for 5 years wasn't special. That is a brutally challenging series to be in. But you know, we were talking earlier about Scott Hargrove, Canadian kid who impressed us so much coming up the junior open wheel ladder into Indy Lights. That kid's over in Pirelli World Challenge right now and leading the championship. He's another one where you go, boy, should someone give him a shot? Because we thought he had something. You look at a Wilkins, not only did he have something, but he then spent 5 years in the Mercedes world learning, just refining every rough edge. Come here, and the guy is right on the heels of the champ.
Let me tell you what, so it's an interesting weekend. We got 3 Chevys in the top 10. The rest are Hondas. It's Team Penske like it's been all year. That's no surprise. But let's go back to what everybody's talking about, and that's your story from yesterday, and that's Scott Dixon and McLaren and what might happen, and that's what everybody in the pits has been talking about all day in the paddock, and everybody's got their own speculation, everybody's got their own angle and stuff. I don't think anybody knows what's going on. We woke Stefan Johansson up, Shunk and I did, driving up here. He was in Monaco.
Sorry, Steph.
Said, but he answered the phone and he said, look, nobody signed anything yet, and your story didn't say that. Your story just basically said McLaren's talking to Dixon, and Johansson said so a lot of other teams, a lot of people want him. Yeah. So won't it be ironic if the only movement in silly season is the best driver in the series, the 4-time champ who could be the 5-time champ before it's all said and done? He might be the only big domino of the whole season.
Well, keep in mind that if the best of his era leaves the team he's been with for almost he's been with them for 2 decades, but if we're looking at almost 20 solid years, if he leaves that team, that's a giant void to fill. Yeah. Who steps into his number 9 entry? Obviously, Chip Ganassi Racing last year, a year where their car was white or not filled with sponsors very much. We've got Dixon, we've got a new sponsor on their car in PNC Bank. They're going to want someone of Dixon's caliber to fill that seat. Who is that? That's the second domino to fall.
That's a very good point.
The other things to think about, so far we've been talking about the 1 McLaren entry. Had some pretty solid intel come through today. There's been rumors of 2, not saying there hasn't, but you and I had some pretty solid intel come in today that said, 2 might actually end up being the number. And who would be that second driver? Would that automatically be a Dixon-Alonso thing? You and I, at least, with no knowledge, wonder how could you pay for both?
You couldn't.
But Then we maybe go back to the angle of Mr. Latifi, who just invested $270 million into McLaren last month. And could his money be part of what's
Who would he
helping?
bring, Marshall? Who would his pick be?
Well, I don't know. Again, if I'm just looking at second driver option in this two-car McLaren entry, we believe is going to be under the Andretti Autosport banner. Could it be his son, Nicholas, who's competing in Formula 2? If it isn't, Alonso. And again, we don't know if Dixon's going to be there again. Nothing signed.
Right, and the other thing is, Dixon's won 2 races in a row. What if he wins? Maybe he doesn't go anywhere. He might not. What if Alonso doesn't go to McLaren? What if he went to somebody else?
Or decided he wanted to stay in Formula 1. And we also heard a friend of ours tell us a number that he heard they might be willing to pay Dixon. It's more than it costs, more than it takes. His annual salary would be higher than what a supremely budgeted IndyCar team runs on per year.
And that would still be $12 million less than he makes right now.
There's fun and silly going on.
Right.
We got other questions we still don't have answers to, like what's Ray Hall Letterman Landing going to do? 2 cars, 3 cars? Is little Colton Herta going to be there?
Right.
Is Sato going to be back?
Right.
We think we have Penske sorted out. We think they're going to be good with what they are.
Can your buddy Mike Shank pull it together and run the whole season? Can Yukos pull it together and run the whole season? That'd be big if that happens. Jack Harvey was talking a while ago. He's got a good sponsor, so maybe they can. That'd be awesome if we could get Mike Shank full time. I mean, in an ideal situation, there could be 24 or 25 cars next year, which would be spectacular.
I mean, if you think about all the items that are going on behind the scenes, there's no question. The McLaren angle is a real thing. Nothing signed, et cetera, but this isn't kind of, we'll peek over the fence, see, this is real conversation.
Yeah, they didn't go to Detroit just to watch the race.
And Indy. This is going to be fun. That's all I can say.
Well,
that's what ended our little silly season thing is.
It's always fun.
This is going to be fun because if more or less nothing happens, then we have a couple of newish teams. Scuderia Corsa looking to come in. Who are they going to put in the car?
Right.
Shank, could they expand beyond the 6 they're doing now?
Yep.
We're in a good place.
The thing of it is that when we come up here, it's so great because everybody here is an IndyCar fan and they really pay attention and they love talking about silly season and what's going to happen here, and that's what makes our job fun. Hamburger and French fry. I mean, it's no big secret, but we're not going to go back to Phoenix. That'll be probably out here before the weekend's over. And it's, we're trying to find out. I mean, I think there's a real challenge right now, Marshall. Where's this series going to go next year? Are they going to go to Laguna and Sonoma? Are they going to drop Sonoma? Or is Sonoma going to drop them? Or because they're maybe not going to be the season finale, is it going to be Gateway? Could you go back to Richmond someday? Is there any street races in the works?
Here's what I'm suggesting, and of course is meaningless because I'm saying it. You've been an advocate all along for Gateway to be the finale, right? Start next year. We come here, since we returned here a couple of years ago, this is, if you are depressed and you want to feel happy about life and love and the world, come to Road America for the IndyCar event. It is just so warm. Everything is green. The people are happy. We swear today, Friday, there are more people than there were last year. There were a lot of people here last year.
I saw George Bruggenthie's, and he said it's bigger than last year. The thing of it is, there's more people here today than there are at most of our races.
Yeah.
And it's not because there's a lot of IndyCar fans here, and thank God we came back here. And
I don't know if we could support 2 races, but my crazy idea is keep this date, this June date, add a second one as the penultimate round, right? So come back here in September, right? Have this as the road course, call it season finale, the last road course, but then go to Gateway as the true finale. Could you imagine Road America, Gateway back to back? That would be
it'd be cool.
Ball.
I was talking to Dale Coyne today, and he says, hey, you keep advocating Gateway. He goes, our sponsors love Sonoma. I said, Dale, I get the sponsors love Sonoma. Why wouldn't your sponsors like to be on national television at Gateway on a Sunday afternoon leading into Sunday Night Football in 2019? Wouldn't that be better than a good meal in San Francisco? Which he agreed that there's, the Sonoma race, Diane and those people do a great job of promoting it, but it's not a very good race for an IndyCar. It's certainly not a double points race for the last race of the year, whereas Gateway is where we need to be.
All right,
And that's it.
We should stop talking words with our mouths.
We're wrapping up here.
And get to
Marshall did a
work.
good little video today with the boys talking about running dirt. I heard from Brian Clausen's dad. Tim Clausen said, you tell Will Power, if he wants to run, I got a car for him.
Oh, that's the best.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's just the way. And you know Will wants to do it.
Yeah.
But and you could just tell there's certain guys that would give it a shot.
He's insane.
Yeah.
So there's no question. You know he's in.
Oh, yeah. He's got those eyes. All right. Thanks for waiting. RACER.com. His videos, his podcasts. This is Robin. That's Marshall. See you, buddy.